Meaning, you know how when you go to the place and you dress up and you present yourself and ask them what they need as far as capacity and yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, they were interested, and then all of a sudden it just lapsed and just all of a sudden said, no, we don't need any other services right now. Any other brokers? We're not looking for any at the moment. And I said, okay, well, I scratched them off my list.
Did you ask them if you were in a place where you will be needing them? Can we get an email or anything like that to stay in contact with you just in case you may have a need? They may just dealt with just straight trucking companies as opposed to going through brokers. Is that what the case was?
So they used smaller dump trucks. They actually use dump trucks instead of this particular company,
Okay.
instead of like a flatbed. So the materials and products that they had on their yard was like brick material, steel pipes. That's the stuff that you see when you pull up. But when you talk to the people, they are only dealing with dump trucks. So I didn't notice that. Looking in it, it looked like they would deal with flatbeds, but they only dealt with dump trucks at the moment.
Do you have a particular commodity that you would like to broker specifically?
Yeah, I wouldn't have mind the dump trucks. That's a whole nother thing. And I do know we have someone here in our platform that can assist with that.
Yeah, Latricia Tolbert.
Her, yes, yes. Um, but I just didn't want to jump that. I didn't want to go through that hurdle,
It's more
for lack
seasonal.
of a better word.
It's more seasonal and contractual.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I just, yeah, I just gave that one up. So, and then that other company that I was super duper excited about, like um, they deal with like hot shots instead of flatbeds. So they dealt with the specialized commodity to move their stuff that are really local and not the actual 18 wheeler
so they deal with like
flatbed.
LTLs and partials.
There you go. Yes, sir.
Hmm. And why did that not work?
Because they had their commodities already.
Hmm.
And then you know how you go to, I don't know if you all have a weekends only. I think they shut them all down here in St. Louis, Missouri, but or Ashley Furniture. They had their own actual trucks, for the company.
So they were customer routed.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it was worth a try to still ask. I still shot my shot. That's what they say.
All right. Welcome everyone. I see James and iPhone. Who is iPhone? Who are you, sir?
Oh, I'm Steve.
Steve.
Hi, Steve.
How you doing?
Steve, are you a guest? You just coming here for the first time, or have you been here before?
Yeah, this is my first time.
First time. Okay. What brings you here?
Well, me and my son had a hot shot truck, and me and my wife decided to go into a freight broker certification
Okay, so you want to broker freight only for your hot shot trucks or for all trucks,
for all trucks.
all truck types? Okay.
Mhm.
Where are you in the process of applying for your broker authority, or have you even started that part yet?
Okay, we already had the authority started. We already had the truck out. He's doing it now, but I just want to know more
So let me
about the
stop.
truck.
I'm sorry. Let me stop you there. So you have an authority for your truck,
Yes,
not for the broker yet.
yeah, we
Okay.
did already.
So you have a trucking authority, but do you have a broker authority, a broker license?
No, I didn't have a broker license. I only have the truck authority.
Okay. Okay. So but you are entertaining getting a broker license or a broker authority.
Exactly.
Okay. When are you looking to do that?
As soon as I finish this class, I intend to take the test, take the state. the federal motor exam, and hopefully I'll be licensed.
What?
So
Wait, what federal motor exam? I'm assuming. I just want to make sure I'm understanding you. So you're going to fill out the you're going to go to the FMCSA's website and do the application like you did on the trucking side.
right,
Okay.
right.
It looks like you're a doctor. You got like a stethoscope around your neck or something?
Oh, no, I'm a surgical nurse.
Oh, surgical nurse. Okay, very good.
Yeah. So I'm just in one of my patient room trying to look out for myself.
Okay, yeah. Getting some downtime in, huh?
Yeah.
Very good. So
Thank you.
you want to arrange for transportation as a freight broker to not only
No,
find. Go ahead.
we got the truck out there now.
Your hot
So I
shot.
just right, the hot shot truck out there. Me, my son and her friend are doing it. So the dispatcher that they claim they're using, I just feel like if I can know pretty much about the free broker, I can dispatch for my son and her and his friends.
Right. So you can pretty much keep everything in house.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Well, this is our Zoom edition of our Tuesday Zoom call for our freight broker 101 training for beginners. My name is Charles. I'm the instructor, the advisor here. Welcome. You're a guest.
Thank
I'm assuming there's some other guests on here. iPhone 91, are you a guest too? I can't hear you, ma'am. The one that says iPhone 91, and I see another one. Hey, Trudith. Trudith made it on. Okay, I spoke to you earlier, Trudith.
It looks like iPhone 91 did not connect to the audio.
Oh, okay. She has to connect to her audio. Okay, good. Okay, so what's up, Benny? Long time.
What's going on?
Long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I got a story for you today too.
You got a story for me today. I'm assuming you got a shipper. You got a customer.
We got caught up in some frauds.
Oh Lord. Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
think the new brokers need to hear this to kind of avoid it.
yeah. It was crazy, man. It was real crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was taken care of because we did everything we were supposed to do. But yeah, it was still it was a crazy thing for us.
So the fraud occurred on the shipper side,
On the carrier side.
on the carrier side.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
you
we got
were
caught up in a double brokering situation.
understood. So
Yeah.
let me mute everyone else besides you, and then unless that's your sound in the background.
Yeah, that's me. I'm gonna go in the other room. I just got finished with the client. All right. Have a good weekend. Have a safe trip. All right. All right. Okay. So is that better?
Yeah, the background noise is going away. Okay, so
Okay. So we we booked a load. We someone called us to book a load. We booked the load. We set everything up, sent the Raycon off and everything. And I have this thing with tracking. So if you don't accept my tracking, I don't give you the load. But this particular person was like, "Well, no, we can do the tracking ourselves, and we'll just send you and keep you updated."
no,
So
because you own the
so
load.
right, but we hadn't had a load in so long to go out, so we was my other half was like, "Well, we're gonna do it we'll do it that way. We already called to set everything up. I'm not gonna get a load back." So he take the load. The load went the whole weekend. Dropped the load. Everything was delivered like it was supposed to. No problem, right? And the way that my partner was explaining it to me, I was like, this don't sound right, bro. This don't sound right. It sounds like something wrong. This sounds like it's gonna come back to bite us. The first thing he said was, we did everything we were supposed to do. So we should be fine as long as the load is delivered. I said, yeah, but this don't sound right. It might bite us. We might wind up owing money. He said, don't worry about it. We're gonna find out.
So what about it? What about it at the time didn't sound right?
So what didn't sound right was that we had no real phone communication, for one.
Okay.
For two, we could not communicate with the carrier. The carrier did not answer the phone, didn't nothing, right?
Right.
Only way we communicated was through email.
Okay.
When you made the phone call to the person that emailed you, they didn't answer the phone, so you had no communication, right?
Right.
So that right there made me nervous. I don't even if I can't get a phone call from you, I can't talk to you. I don't want you to have my load. I'm not going to take you serious. So long story short, the load was delivered. Everything was fine. Everybody got paid. And what happened was, the following week, that same particular carrier came back and asked for a load. And I set the load up for him. I got everything prepared because I'm like, well, okay, all right. He ran the load for us already. Everything was okay. Set the load up for him. Everything was prepared. He was supposed to pick the load up at one time. And then he said, well, no, we can't pick it up this time. We got to pick it up. We got to pick it up at another time. Can we pick it up at another time? I was like, okay, all right, we'll pick it up in the morning. That's cool. You can pick it up in the morning, and that's fine. So the morning time comes, he didn't pick it up.
Now you got that clearance. Of course you got that clearance from your shipper, right? They've been picking up.
Right. I got it clear with the shipper that he's gonna pick it up in the morning.
Okay.
So he says, no, we're gonna have to pick it up at 12. I said, okay, all right. So I wait for 12 o'clock. I say, well, what's the ETA? No communication. So now my wheels are turning, because I'm like, okay, when he first told me he could pick it up at a certain time, the first day, he told me he could pick it up at 1 o'clock. I get him the load, I get him everything prepared, everything was ready. I wait for him to send me the rate con back. He never sent me the rate con back. So now my wheels is turning. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? So he said, well, the driver's not in service, so we had to pick it up in the morning. Okay, all right, he's not in service. I don't want you to run with your hours out. I don't want you to run and you don't have the hours. Okay, I can respect that.
Right.
So pick it up in the morning. Never responded to me, never talked to me, never said anything that morning. And I'm communicating with him. He hits me back about 11 o'clock and says, can we pick it up at 1? I said, okay, all right, you pick it up at 1. Talk to the shipper, say he's going to be there at 1 o'clock. Okay, that's fine, 1 o'clock. Communicating. No response. So I said, okay, I'm gonna cancel this load, because I called the carrier. I called the pickup location to find out if anybody had showed up.
Right.
Or if anybody had picked it up.
Right.
He said, no one showed up, no one's picked it up. I said, okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna get this load back to the shipper, and if anybody comes to pick it up, don't give it to them. So that happened. I had to call the shipper back, which I hate doing. I really hate doing that. It really makes me feel bad to do that.
Right.
But I called him, told him that I was calling the load off. The shipper the carrier didn't do what he was supposed to do. So I'm just calling it off. He said, okay, fine. About a week after that, matter of fact, I believe it might have been that following Monday. Following Monday? I'm gonna say last Monday. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say last Monday. We get a phone. I get a phone call that someone ran a load for us and they didn't get paid. I said, "Well, wait a minute, wait a minute. We paid 24 to 48 hours, so we know everybody that's run a load for us has gotten paid. So I don't understand."
And because
Well, we ran a load.
you got all your BOLs and everything to prove that.
Right. So he said, "Yeah, we ran a load from so and so to so and so." I said, "Oh, okay, all right. That sounds familiar, but I'm not 100% sure. But is this your number?" I'm at the gym at this time. I'm trying to get my mind right for the day. And I said, "I'm gonna call you right back. I'm leaving the gym. I'm gonna call you right back when I get to the office. Give me about a half hour." I shoot home. I call my partner. I talk to him. And he said, "Well, we're going to figure this out before we call him back." I said, "Yeah, but it's some questions I need to ask so we figure out what we figuring out."
Right.
Because I just kind of heard some stuff. I didn't hear everything. So I need to know exactly what we trying to figure out. He said, "No, because I don't want you to say." I said, "You know what? I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give you the number and you call him." He called the carrier, and the carrier said, he negotiated. First off, the carrier was not who booked the load with us. He definitely was not who booked the load with us. He booked the load with someone else. He didn't even get the pay rate. The pay rate that he negotiated was not the pay rate that we actually paid out.
That's in the
He got
conversation.
$2,000 over. He got $2,000 over what we actually paid out.
That's the end of the conversation.
Right, he was asking for it. Right, but he was trying to figure out how he could get paid for the loads. And apparently he must have called the shipper. Yeah. He called the shipper. And I guess I don't know if he complained or if he talked to the shipper to see if he can get his money or what. But the shipper dropped us because of double broker. So we got caught up in that scam.
So
yeah.
That's wow. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
So how can a shipper drop you for double brokering if the shipper tenders the load to one broker, right?
Mm-hmm.
They solicit the load out they put the load out in either an email or however they put it out on like they broadcast it to a bunch of brokers. They may have a bunch of brokers bid on a load or whatever. And then if one broker wins that bid or quote, then a load tender goes to that specific broker from the shipper, right?
Right.
It doesn't go to multiple brokers. It goes to one broker. Did they have a relationship with you? That's a good question, LaDonna. Did that shipper have a relationship with you previously, before this?
We've been working with the shipper for...
So, yes.
5 months? Yes.
5 months. You had a relationship with them.
No, 5 months.
So the load that the shipper or that the carrier complained to the shipper about was apparently the shipper must have thought and didn't verify, obviously, that they gave the load to you, to your brokerage. And I don't know if the shipper called you to verify that if this was the carrier that you brokered that load to. Right?
No.
I don't know. They didn't do that.
No.
Right? So they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough investigating, and they just decided to drop you for double brokering. How can you? Yeah, that's so they're wrong on their side, but on your side, that would have been the end of the conversation with the carrier when the load that they're saying that they should get paid for is not even the same load that you brokered out. The numbers or everything was different, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'd have been like, "Look, man, get off my phone. Go about your business." Click, and then call the shipper and say, "Look, you may be hearing from a carrier that we have nothing to do with, we have no relationship with, they're not part of our, because that this carrier is not a part of your.
He said that he actually backtracked. He actually backtracked the BOL.
Who is he? The carrier or the shipper?
The carrier. The carrier actually backtracked the BOL.
So is this?
So
he called
the actual shipper. He called the shipper to find out who actually was responsible for brokering the load.
Right.
That's how he got my number.
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's fine that the carrier did that to find out. He could anybody can do that and call the shipper and say, who'd you broker this load to? Oh, I brokered it to Benny's brokerage or whatever, right? But if Benny's brokerage, if this carrier is not an approved carrier for Benny's brokerage, then this carrier don't have a relationship with Benny's brokerage. So how can you say you owe me, right. I owe you some money if I don't even, you're not even on board with my brokerage? How can I owe you money when I didn't send you a rate con? We don't have a relationship or anything like that. You see? And I'm explaining this to the shipper too. Why are you dropping me when you got a carrier calling you with whom I don't even have a relationship with as a broker? What logic are you using, shipper?
Yeah, that was that was crazy, something, man. That was a day. That morning started off really crazy for us. Yeah. And then I think a few days later we got word that they were dropping us. I guess the carrier was not happy with the outcome after he talked to us, but we wasn't the first no he got.
Right.
We weren't the first no he got. I mean, we actually did everything that we were supposed to do, and everyone received their payment. So how do you?
So the beauty of brokering is everybody's documented. The shipper's documented through the tender. The carrier's documented with the broker through the broker carrier agreement, all the contracts, whether or not they are approved in your system. So these are documented ways to circumvent double brokering. Right. Why are you trying to claim that I owe you money when you're not even an approved carrier under my brokerage? Why are we having this conversation? What are you talking about? Well, you know what I'm saying? So
it was definitely
that was a learning experience.
It was definitely a fun morning. I'm gonna call it that.
Yeah.
It was a fun morning for Carrera Freight Solutions. I'm gonna tell you.
Well, the same way you got that shipper, you can get another shipper. You know.
But I'm gonna tell you what it did. It caused us to
dot your
reevaluate how we reevaluate the way that we look for carriers
and vet them. Qualify.
The criteria for us, the criteria for us has to change.
Right.
And once we figure that out, then it should get better. It should get better. Not only that, but it's not an easy task. Brokering is not easy, y'all. It's not easy. It's a lot of phone calls on both sides. You got to call. And now I have a true understanding of why I hear some brokers say that they don't use the load board. They don't use the load board because they're actually actively out there looking for carriers and making phone calls. So you're making phone calls for shippers and you're making phone calls for carriers to carry the loads for the shippers so that you can get a real solid pool of carriers to actually carry your loads and make sure that you're not getting caught up like we got caught up last week.
Right. So something to look out for. I'm glad you brought this experience here and shared it with us so we can be able to identify certain things that are going on out here in the real world as far as from a broker's perspective and what to look out for. As always, thank you.
So most definitely, if they're not communicate with you, don't even I mean, I've had couriers that send me stuff that they're not sending me the proper paperwork. They're not the um the kid is not looking correct. Um, it's a lot of things that you have to really pay attention to and look out for
So
when you
let's go over that a little bit. As you mentioned that, let's go over because Bola Pinnacle Logistics asked some great questions, and it kind of circles into what you're talking about. So number one, can we go over the broker carrier packet? Number two, the broker shipper agreement. Number three, what types of equipments are available apart from dry van, temperature controls, and flatbeds and rails? Number three. Number four, what's the difference between TMS and load board and how their functionalities are different? These are great questions. Number five, is RMIS software different from Carrier 411? Yes, it is. And I asked because when I spoke with that, both truck stop, they keep referring to compliance software that can be integrated into and that's true, they can. So RMIS and Carrier 411 are API integrations that can be included in the software, in the load board software. Like that truck stop has Truck Stop Pro has integrations in it, and it has their load board, it has their onboarding software, it has their TMS system all integrated into the software. So yes, but let's circle back up because I want to roll this around to Benny's point of making sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed as it relates to your broker. So number one, can we go over the broker carrier packet? Yes, we can. So if you are a new broker and you're just getting started and you're enrolled in this portal, in module one, we have our broker packet types. As a freight broker, you are dealing with two customers, two different individuals, two clients, if you will. You're dealing with the shippers with whom you are procuring or getting the freight from, and you're dealing with the motor carriers, the authorized, approved motor carriers who are legally authorized to transport freight that you are brokering the freight to. Okay, so that's what you are as a freight broker. You are the person who arranges the transportation of the freight. The person who actually transport the freight are the motor carriers. You arrange for that process because you get the freight from the customers, the shippers. Okay. So how do you get to the broker carrier? So how do you get to that? If you are a student, Jesse, I think it's for Jesse. If you are a student in this training, are you enrolled in this training, Jesse? Just shake your head. Okay. Then in the portal, do you have access to this area right here? If you have access to this area right here, Jesse, then the back office on the broker side, have you logged in and seen this screen yet? Okay. Where it says self-paced modules, module one, broker packet types, right there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and I'm going to right click and open this in a different tab. Okay. So it'll be a separate screen so I can keep the one screen up right here. Okay. So, and we're going to answer Bola Pinnacle's questions in the order that they were asked. Okay. So the broker, the first one she asked, or they asked, I don't know if it's male or female, Bola Pinnacle, broker carrier packet. Okay. So as a freight broker, you need to be in a contractual relationship with the shippers as well as the motor carriers in order for this to work, in order for you to legally be able to arrange to transport the freight. Okay. You have to be contractually bound to the shipper as well as the motor carriers. So the first one is can we go over the broker carrier packet? So the broker carrier packet is the relationship between you, the broker, and that motor carrier. what should be included in that packet at a bare minimum for your brokerage to be sufficient, right? Well, the first thing should be number one, a broker carrier agreement or the actual contract. We have here on this screen a template for that. Well, two templates. One is in Word format and the other is in PDF. So that the Word format, you can download it for yourself and then edit it to your specific company's information. You follow what I'm saying? So let's click that. Let me open it up. The broker carrier agreement. This is one of the documents that's in the packet. The broker carrier packet consists of several documents. The first of which is this one, broker carrier agreement, which is the main document that's in the packet, okay? It explains the role of the broker, the role of the motor carrier, their responsibilities between the two, anything about insurance, other things, non-competes, exclusive use, all types of things in the contract. Now read through this if I were you. If you're going to create a template for yourself, or if you're going to create a broker carrier agreement from a template, you want to understand what the contents are in the template. If there are things in the template that doesn't apply to your brokerage, take it out, right? You may not be dealing with hazardous materials. Some may. You may. You can leave it in there if you have the potential to deal with hazardous materials, but otherwise, go through it step by step. Remember, this is your company. And with the example of like Benny, you want to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. We got the broker responsibilities, okay? And this is an 8-page broker carrier agreement, okay? Certain things you want to talk about. What are your rates? How is your payment set up? How's your payment structured? So your carrier needs to understand how you pay. What type of payments do you offer? Do you offer quick pay? Do you offer ACH transfer, or do you just offer a paper check? Are you working with a factoring company? Things of that nature, okay. Right? So you want to keep those things. Remember, this is the broker carrier contract. So you want to make sure that they are clear on what you are providing as a freight broker, okay? And then the carrier's responsibility. So as a broker, what do you want from your carriers? What type of responsibilities you want your carriers? Now, it is here, when we can circle back to Benny's example, it is here in the broker carrier agreement under the carrier responsibilities point where you could have told the carrier, like, look, I'm not going to give you the load number until you get to the pickup location. That way, the danger of them trying to double broker this load is kind of removed because they don't have a load number to identify with. So when they get to a shipper to pick up, they get to a shipper without a load number, security is not going to let them in. What are you doing here? What load are you here to get? I don't know. So in your broker carrier agreement, you can put under carrier responsibilities, hey, we here at Pinnacle Logistics, we only give the load numbers or the pickup numbers or the BOL numbers to the carriers once they call us up on arrival to the pickup location as a security measure, right? Among other things. And then you want to make sure that they provide a point of contact. We will not give this load to you until we're given a point of contact. Your company name, if you have a driver for your company, or if you are the owner operator, someone's name, first and last name, their cell number and email, because we need to contact someone. I'm getting into a contract agreement with someone, and if I don't have your contact information, that makes no sense on my side as a broker, right? So as a broker, I would advise to put that in your contract because once the person signs that, now that's a legally binding document, right? And that'll hold up in court because you've explained to the carrier in contract form very thoroughly what their responsibilities are, right? So, and in any other special thing, what are your insurance requirements? You require the carrier to have this, that, and the third. Yeah, Benny, go ahead.
And don't fall for that. I'm gonna make some changes to your contract.
No.
and then I'm gonna send it back to you.
No.
Make sure that they sign the contract as is. If they try to make changes to your contract, just don't deal with them.
That's correct.
All right.
Cut them off. If
Because
anyone,
I've had that happen a couple of times.
yeah, if anyone tries to edit, change, or alter a legally binding contract, guess what that is? That's by definition, that is fraud. Okay? So, all right. So, this is the broker carrier agreement. So this is the first document in that packet. You're telling the carrier what their responsibilities are for insurance, what you require for them in order to work for your brokerage. If you want to work for us, this is what you are responsible for. If you do not want to follow these responsibilities, don't sign this contract. Don't sign this broker carrier agreement. And we don't have a relationship. It's as simple as that. You want to put it as plain as English as possible. And then any other miscellaneous things, a non-exclusive agreement, a non-disclosure agreement, whatever you want to call it. Any disputes, how do you handle disputes between you and that carrier? What is your policy on that, right? So these are some of the things you want to mention. Oh, I'm sorry, LaDonna. Let me make you the co-host. I apologize. Let me make LaDonna the co-host real quick. There we go. All right. So getting back up to Pinnacle Logistics questions. So we're in number one of the questions, right? So and we're in the broker carrier. We're just dissecting on a high level portions of the broker carrier agreement, going through there. No back solicitation. As long as that carrier is running a load under your brokerage, under the broker carrier agreement, and they are an approved carrier under your brokerage, they cannot back solicit loads from the shippers or the receivers that they are picking up and delivering to for your brokerage. You follow that? Okay. And they cannot do it for a period of 24 months, 36 months, whatever amount of time that you as a broker decided. Okay. And then confidentiality, any information that you deem in this relationship confidential, you want to explain to them what that means and to thoroughly honor that. Right? So this is the broker carrier agreement, one of the documents that's in the broker carrier packet. Okay. So
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When I downloaded this, it's different from what everything you just went through right now is different from what I downloaded. Mine was like, it's numbered all the way down to, mine is like 12 pages long, and I have like 29 in like up to number 29. But what you have is a bit different from what I'm looking at.
So the Word document, let me look at the Word document. It may be different than the PDF. Let me see. I'm gonna put it on my desktop and it could be the case that the Word document is different than the PDF. And if that's the case, right there. So that is the case. The PDF and the Word document are two different. So you would have to, if you want the PDF version, what you've seen on there, then you would just download the PDF and edit the PDF. Let me share the screen because I think this is what you're looking at. The Word version is definitely different. So I'm glad you caught that. So is that what you're seeing? That's the Word version of it. It's just a different one. It's still a broker carrier contract agreement packet. It's just oriented a little bit different. But if you like the PDF version as opposed to the Word version, then use the PDF version. Okay.
Okay.
But right, all the verbiage is still in there, and this one happens to be 11 pages as opposed to 8 pages with the PDF version. Okay.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you sign this agreement for every package, or you just sign it one time and you use it for that carrier?
Every carrier So for you sign this agreement per carrier one time.
Okay. Okay.
Because this is the document that gets that carrier the process. It starts the process of getting that carrier approved and onboarded as an approved carrier for your brokerage. So you only need to do the broker carrier agreement packet one time.
Okay. With the shipper.
No, this is we're on the carrier side now. We're going to get to the shipper side in a second. But this is the broker. This is you, the freight broker, and the motor carrier, which is going to be hauling your shipper's loads. This is that relationship right now.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get back to PDF. Okay.
Oh, no. Before you go to PDF, can you answer number 22? There's a line item on number 22. So my question is, would that be the state where I operate from, or is it going to be the state of the carrier, where the carrier is registered?
The carrier.
Number 22.
Right.
Line 22.
Yep. Number 22. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Right. The parties hereby stipulate to the exclusive jurisdiction of the courts situated in, and this will be, since this is a relation, it's your state because you're controlling this relationship. So this is your state.
Okay.
Over
right. Thank you.
You're going to litigate in. You want, in other words, you want home court advantage if you want to take them to court. You want home court.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Then another question, line 25.
Okay.
You mentioned state of Florida. Is that supposed to be there?
Let's go back. Line 25.
25.
Let me go up. This line here?
Yes, please.
Take that out. It's not, this template was, whoever we got this template from, I got this template from one of my broker friends who has a brokerage in the state of Florida. So
so it's going to be my state.
Exactly. You just change your state. That's correct. You update that.
Thank you, LaDonna. I know it's a sample, but I just have to ask questions so I know, if I'm doing this the right way or not.
Right. So you just take you switch it's your state. So
okay. Thank you.
All right. So now, and that's if you decide to use the Word version as opposed to the PDF version. The PDF version is shorter. You might want to make your life a little bit easier, right? So, so now, so that's the first document that's in the broker carrier packet. Okay. The second document in the broker carrier packet, and these are minimum requirements, right? You want to create some kind of carrier profile. You want to get some information about the carrier, what equipment type they have, what's their mailing address, physical address, who's the driver, what's their name and cell number, emails. Do they have a dispatcher for that company? What are their information? Are they working with a factoring company? Right? What is that information? Things of that. So just a profile of the carrier so you'll be able to understand who you're dealing with when you are going to onboard them and include them in your network of carriers, approved carriers. Okay. So you need that. All right. And then, so after the number one, the actual contract, the broker carrier agreement and the carrier profile, then you're going to need copies of documents from the carrier in order for you, the broker, to approve that carrier, to vet them, right? To vet them out. Well, what are those things? Well, you need a copy of their actual operating authority. Number 3, their carrier authority. You need to make sure that they are legally authorized to transport freight as a motor carrier. And every carrier who is an authorized carrier has a copy of this. They have what's called a certificate, a motor carrier certificate, issued by the FMCSA and DOT. If you work with a carrier who does not provide this, then you should not work with that carrier because they're not legally authorized to transport freight as a common carrier or whatever type of carrier they listed themselves as when they got approved as a carrier. Okay? So you need them to send you a copy of that when they return the completed broker carrier agreement, and the profile. You need them to return you a copy of and theirs will be filled out. Their service date will have the date that their authority became active. Okay? This is just a sample of what it looks like. So you'll be able to identify it when you see it, right? So theirs will have whatever date that their authority became active. It'll have their MC number. It'll have their DOT number and the name and city and state of their company, right? Everything else will be pretty standard, right? So next, you would need a copy of their certificate of insurance for them to send you a copy of their certificate of insurance. So not only do they have to be able to legally transport the freight, they also need to be able to have the insurance to cover what they can legally transport. You follow that? Okay. And then typically on the policies, carriers usually carry 100,000 cargo and $1 million in liability. And it'll have all this stuff will be filled out. This is just a blank template of what the certificate of insurance looks like. When they send you theirs, it'll have their information filled out. Under here where it says producer, that's the insurance company. Let's say Nationwide or Progressive or whoever they go with. Under insured, it'll be the motor carrier, ABC Trucking or XYZ Transportation, whatever they call themselves, right? Over here, in this area, it'll be the insurance agent's information, the contact person at Progressive that can be contacted about any questions, right? In this area here, it'll have the policy number of the cargo and liability, the date that it became effective or started, and the date that it expires. And then the amounts will be over here, okay? So all that stuff will be filled out on the certificate of insurance. You need a copy of theirs sent from them to you so that you can vet them out and qualify them and onboard them. Okay. All right. Next, you need a copy of their W-9, right? Every carrier has that. Go ahead, Benny.
I'm sorry, I moved a little slow, but I want to take it back to the insurance certificate, right?
Okay.
What happens when they send you what happens when they send you a certificate that doesn't look like that?
There are other, so you got certificates, insurance. What you can do is you can call the insurance company to verify that carrier is one of their clients. Because this is just a standard Accord looking certificate of insurance. But there are insurance.
So it's good that you say that, right? This is what happened to me. I got 2 companies that sent me an insurance from Progressive, and it had a number on there, but Progressive, it must have been Progressive's customer service line because they put me on hold.
Okay.
Like they never came to the phone.
Okay.
So needless to say, I didn't use that carrier.
Right.
Because I couldn't figure out whether or not it was real or not.
Right. And
I've never like the breakdown, everything. It looked like it was the certificate that you signed when you're getting the insurance, not the actual insurance certificate.
Correct. And so whenever, that's a great point. So for any of you new brokers, whenever you get to a crossroads where you have to make a decision like what Benny just mentioned, where you don't recognize a document as being authentic and you cannot verify it by contacting the numbers on the document, then do not qualify that carrier. And let the carrier know, I can't qualify you because I can't approve you as an approved carrier because I can't qualify your insurance. You would have to have your agent, if you want me to work with us, you would have to have your agent call us to verify that you are actually insured. If you want to go that far, or you just don't work with them. So that the choice is yours in that regard. But whenever you get to a crossroads, a point where you can't validate or qualify something in the process of onboarding a carrier, then don't onboard them. Don't put yourself through that headache. There's so many other carriers that need brokered loads, right? Don't pull your hair out, okay? So the W-9, it just shows the carrier's information, their name that's on their IRS tax form, they're doing business as or entity name, their alias, like ABC Trucking or whatever. It'll have their street address, city, state, and zip. And then also it'll have under part 1, where it says taxpayer identification number, it'll have their EIN, employer identification number, in here as opposed to their social. A business should never associate their social security number, which is their personal number, to their business. It should be their employer identification number. Now, does it happen? Of course it does. Somebody may have filled it out incompletely. It doesn't make it wrong. They just use their social. Some people use their social for their business, which is a dangerous thing to do, right? But it's better to, that is why you get an employer identification number, because that is the social for your business. Your personal social security number is for you, the person, for your human existence, right? So that's another document you need a copy of from the carrier in order to qualify them. And then finally, another document that you need from the carrier in order to qualify them. Now, this is optional, assuming that the carrier that you're going to onboard and approve to your brokerage has a factoring company that they're working with. If they're working with a factoring company, then you're going to need to fill out their factoring company's credit application, because their factoring company is vetting and qualifying you, the broker. They want to make sure that you, the broker, is a good broker. There's no claims filed against your bond for non-payment or any type of financial irresponsibility. That is because the factoring company's client is the carrier. So they're trying to protect the interests of their client, the carrier. So you, the broker, should never get offended when a carrier's factoring company sends a credit application through their carrier to you for you to fill out and return to them so that they can vet you, right? That should never be the case. If that's the case, then there's something wrong that you may be doing. If you are reluctant to fill out a credit application for a carrier's factoring company that you are trying to qualify, maybe that's something you are trying to hide. So just be mindful of that. And then once you send that back, the credit application, and it comes back favorable, right? The factoring company is going to issue a note, what's called a notice of assignment. They're going to say, hey, broker, all invoices payable to the carrier that you're working with, that you've approved, all invoices payable, which is to the carrier, our client, are now payable to us because we've already paid the carrier. Now we want to recoup the money from you, the broker. We paid them up front. That's the concept of factoring. Okay. So that's how that works. They stepped in on behalf of the carrier, provided some upfront money to keep them moving, and then they're gonna deal with you on the back end after they get all the invoices and the PODs and everything that they need to collect the money. They can afford to wait your payment terms for payment that you're getting from the shipper, like net terms, like net 30 or whatever, because they have an extensive amount of cash flow and they can afford to do that. That's why they extend monies to the carriers up front for a certain percentage, because they can afford to wait the payment terms of the broker. You guys follow that? Okay. So that's number one for Bola Pinnacle Logistics. That was number one, the broker carrier side. Now let's go to the broker shipper side. Let's get our loads from the shipper. We got the carrier, we qualified the carrier. Now let's let the shipper qualify us, the broker. So we want to reverse that. So let's go to those documents. And while I'm doing that, are there any questions on, let's go back to the top. Now we're on the broker shipper agreement. or the broker shipper packet, right? The packet contains several documents. Now we're remember we're on the shipper side now. So now we're trying to get loads from the shipper. So now we're going to send the shipper let's say you talk to a shipper, you either did a quote or you won a bid on a lane or whatever, and they said, okay, send me your packet, send me your information so we can go ahead and get this relationship going. And you send them a broker shipper. Now it's called here broker shipper transportation agreement. You can call it whatever you want. Broker shipper agreement, whatever you want to call it. Okay. It just contains the same way with the carrier side, the verbiage is going to be on the shipper side as well. Right? What's the shipper's responsibilities in this agreement? What's the broker's responsibilities in this agreement? What do the shipper require of the broker in order for this agreement to be legitimate? Things of that nature. Now, this one's 7 pages, but you get the gist, right? What are the terms that the shipper's doing with the broker? What responsibilities the broker has to the shipper? No back solicitation, no things like that. Shipper obligations, broker obligations and responsibilities. Read through it, and if anything, remember this is a template, so you can pull from or keep certain verbiage that relates to what you were talking about. Go ahead, Bola.
Okay, thank you. So can we go over number 5G, section 2?
Right. Okay, so rejected or refused shipment. So 5G,
Yes.
this is what the shipper, so this is only if you are doing intermodal shipments. So if you are a broker that's dealing with intermodal shipments, then 5G2 applies to you. So you may even take out the whole section 5. If you're not doing any brokering with the ports, then all of this in this template can be removed.
Okay.
Right. So if you don't intend on doing anything, but let's go over it. Let's assume that you were dealing with the ports. Then if 5G number 2, you said, right?
Yes, please.
Right. So rejected or refused shipment. Now this is for ports. So if you are a broker dealing with dray companies, drayage, what's called drayage, which are trucking companies that do short runs with power only units. They go to the ports, they grab a chassis, they pick up a container, and then they deliver it last mile to whatever facility that they're going to deliver it to. We're talking about that on section 5 in this particular example right now. So number 2, if disposition instructions are not so received, then the broker, Pinnacle Logistics, is authorized to instruct the carrier to place the freight in a public warehouse or carrier's storage facility, if they have a storage facility.
Yeah.
Right. So this is saying if the dredge company don't follow instructions, then this is the alternative to that. You got to take it to a public designated warehouse or your particular facility if you have one. Right.
Okay.
And the public warehouse is via the instructions from the broker's customer, the shipper, right here from the shipper. Okay. This is in drayage. This is in port work. Okay. If this doesn't relate to you and you don't intend on brokering to the ports, you can remove section 5.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I have a question also.
Yes, who's that?
This is Steve.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Right. So this is the agreement between the broker and the shipper.
Correct.
Can the shipper modify it?
So the shipper can't modify your agreement, but the shipper don't have to sign your agreement, and the shipper can flip the script, if you will, and give you their agreement. This is what we want from you. If you agree to this, then we're willing to work with you. We see that you provided us with a broker shipper agreement, but some of the terms in there and things in there that we don't agree with. So here's a counter to that.
Okay.
Right? And then you, the broker, will have to decide if you agree with whatever they're wanting your responsibilities to be in that new counter agreement before you sign it. Once you sign it, it's legally binding.
It's binding. All right. Thank you.
All right. So that's number 1 in the broker shipper packet, the actual contract agreement to get you guys together. Number 2 you, the broker, want to provide the shipper with a profile, a company profile of your company, just a brief profile, just describing who you are, your phone number, fax number, your corporate address, just basic stuff, your MC, EIN number, just an emergency contact, things like that. Something simple. I just put a screenshot of what it looks like right here, but it's just something simple, just a little brief one-page profile. And then what you need to provide to the shipper is, because if I'm a shipper and I'm trying to get on board with you, the broker, I need to know that you are who you say you are, right? Well, what document that you, the broker, can provide to me, the shipper, to prove to me that you are who you say you are? Well, number 3, your broker license, your broker authority. That is the one document that says if you have a broker license and it's active, the service date says it's active, and you are a broker of property except household goods, you are legally allowed to arrange for the transportation. That means that you did everything else to qualify yourself to have an active license. Because to become a broker, you have to pay $300 to fill out the broker application. You have to get a bond, $75,000 bond. A BLC3, you have to get someone to designate as a process server, a process agent. You have to get a UCR, right? And you have to get other things, some extra insurance if you want it. Contingent cargo and errors and omissions, for example, right? So if you did all those pre-qualifying things, because having a broker authority or broker license means that you've done all of that. You met all of the requirements, because you cannot have a broker license on the screen here without having any of those things. You got to have those things to be a broker. You got to have a bond. Well, first of all, you got to apply for the authority, $300 non-refundable. You got to fill that out on the fmcsa.dot.gov website /registration. That is called the OP-1 form. Got to fill that out, pay $300, non-refundable. So don't mess up on it, because you got to go back again to pay another $300, right? You got to get a bond. Every broker has to have a bond in the amount nowadays of $75,000, right? And you pay a one-time annual premium on that based on your credit, okay? What does the bond do? The bond protects the carrier from broker not paying or illegal or unethical activities. If you do something that causes a carrier to not get paid, or something that you did wrong, or you breached a contract between one of your carriers and yourself, the carrier has every right or recourse to file a claim against your bond to recoup financial damages. That is the purpose of a bond, to protect the motor carrier. That's why you have to have a bond as a freight broker. Okay? So this is what you show the shipper to prove to them that you are who you say you are. If you show them your broker license and it's active, you've done everything else under that to qualify to have the license. Filled out the application, the bond, BLC3, all that stuff. You've done all that, okay? So that's number 3 in the packet. Number 4, if you got extra insurance, the same thing with the motor carrier, certificate of insurance, W-9. I'm not going to open them up because you know what they look like, right? It's the same thing. And then if you, the broker, has a factoring company, then you do to the shipper what the motor carrier did to you, sending the credit application and the notice of assignment, because you want to vet that shipper, because shippers have there are good and bad shippers. There are good and bad paydex scores on shippers, that they have cases of not paying, or their net terms are too extreme, or whatever. So it's the same process. So these are the qualifying documents, or these are the minimum required documents to have in a broker shipper packet. And then earlier I showed you the minimum requirement documents to have in the broker carrier packet. Okay? So that's number 2, Pinnacle, right?
Yes, sir. I have a question before we continue, please.
Okay.
Okay, on the package, on the packet area, I know you did answer one of the questions, but I have another just for clarification. Oh my God, where's my notes? I have so much notes here. So can we go over question on page 11? Is it that one? No, number 22. I'm sorry, number 22.
Are you on the carrier side or on the shipper side?
The shipper side.
Right here.
Yes, number 22. So
Choice
again,
choice
yes,
of
so that would be my state again.
all questions concerning the performance, construction, interpretation, validity, and enforcement of this agreement, whether in court or law, because you're sending this broker, because since this is your agreement, sending it to the shipper, then it'll be in your jurisdiction.
Okay.
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 Because you are initiating this.
Okay.
In your jurisdiction.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then if we go to page 11.
Is there 11 pages? I only see 7.
Is there 11 pages on that one?
No, this is only 7 pages on this.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
So now question number 3, what type of equipments are available apart from the dry van, reefers, and flatbeds and rails? Number 3. So there are other equipment types that you can consider brokering for, but the reason why we suggest, so let me answer the question first. What are other equipment types? You got hot shots, you got box trucks, you got sprinter vans and cargo vans. You got different variations of the flatbed types. Conestogas, step decks, RGNs, double drops, things of that nature. And you can Google that. You can easily go to, if you want to know a certain trailer type, you can open up Google and then hit images at the top right. And then you can type in something like Conestoga. I can spell it right, Conestoga trailer. Okay. And you can see what that is. It's just a trailer, a flatbed trailer with a curtain. That's what that is. Or if you want to see another equipment type, you can type in the other name, like RGN, which is RGN stands for removable gooseneck. Okay, RGN trailers. These are the large RGNs. So you can see the different equipment types. This gets into oversized and overdimensional or heavy haul types of freight or brokering for your case. These large dump trucks and excavators, right? So there are different equipment types, but the reason why I suggest the 3 major ones starting out for new brokers, I don't want you to get overwhelmed with all of the different qualifications of the other equipment types and what they require. The dry vans are pretty simple to do. The reefers are pretty simple to do. And the standard skateboards or standard flatbeds are pretty simple to do. Once you get the mechanics of brokering down, then you can consider progressing into other realms of different equipment types. But we want you to get the mechanics of the process of being a broker down first before you entertain going down that lane. Because once you go down that lane, you have to know what you're doing, okay? Or you will be taken advantage of, and we don't want that, okay? So, number 4, what's the difference between TMS and a load board? Very good, and how their functionalities are different. Very good question. So, a load board is online software where shippers and brokers post the loads that they are trying to sell or move for the motor carriers. And motor carriers have accounts to those load boards where they log in and they put their search features according to what they require and find loads that meet their requirements and call the brokers or shippers associated with those loads. And then the two come together and try to come up with an agreement to get a rate confirmation and move that load so that the carrier can get paid and the broker can get paid. That's what the load boards are for, to move the loads. A TMS system, transportation management software. That is a CRM, a customer relationship management, as well as a content management, CMS. It's a combination of those two. It is what shippers and brokers use to manage their companies internally. Let me show you what I mean. Let me open up a TMS system and log into one. So TMS systems can have load boards integrated into them. Like, for example, a SIN is a TMS system. It can have DAT, 123, or truck stop. You can have load boards integrated into TMS system. You can build a load. You can convert a load tender from a shipper through a TMS system into a rate confirmation to give to the carrier. Or you can convert a load tender from the shipper either manually or electronically. They have an electronic version or concept of converting a load tender from a shipper through a TMS system to the carrier. That's called EDI, electronic data interchange. That is an expensive concept because there needs to be a two-way communication between that, a digital communication between the shipper and the broker who has that software, and that feature turned on in that software. That EDI feature, not turned on, they call it enabled. It has to be enabled, okay? So if you're going to use EDI, some of the larger larger brokerages can afford to integrate the EDI version of their TMS system in order to have the data just transfer from the tender directly into their TMS system to create the Raycon a little bit faster, okay? And otherwise, you guys will be doing it manually, which is, I'll show you right here. So this is a SIN TMS. This is the basic one. There are other TMS systems. You got a SIN, you have Aljex, eFreight Solutions, Axis. The largest one in the world is called McLeod Software. It's a API, it's an ERP, SAP type of system, $25,000 a month to use that system. Okay. I would sincerely hope you guys will never try to get that one because you would have to be a huge broker with multiple clients, multiple shipments in order to accommodate the affordability for that type of power, right? Ascend is a low-level TMS system, transportation management software, where if you are a broker with, let's say, no more than 5 to 10 even shippers moving shipments, you can manage them better on a smaller scale, okay? So this is a TMS system. You guys see the screen? Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
All right. So on here on the left-hand column, you have, right now we're on the dashboard. So whatever is highlighted black is what the current screen you're going to see. This is the dashboard. It shows like some analytics, some current data, right? So you see all the analytics right here. For example, it shows the national rates, the current rate index, CRI, national van spot market rates. Right now, the line haul with a fuel surcharge, we call this the line haul with a fuel surcharge. We call that what's called an all-in rate because it's the line haul plus a fuel surcharge. Right now for a van, $2.06 a mile on average. For a reefer, it's $2.45. For a flatbed, it's $2.46. And it was down 19 cents from the previous week for the van. For the reefer, it's up 6 cents from the previous week. And then from the flatbed, it's down 16 cents from the previous week. So you can take that information and you can figure out what was. So for the van, for example, if it's 206 right now and it was down 19 cents from the previous week, then the question becomes, what was it the previous week? Well, if it's down 19 cents, then what would you do? You would add 19 cents and figure out, well, what was it last week? It was 225. 206 plus 19 cents is 225 a mile. You understand what I just did? Right? So you can figure out what the analytics are on that. And then if you look at some other analytics, it's giving you the diesel fuel index. Now, TMS systems, they pull data from all different types of other resources. Like they may have pulled the national spot market rates from trend lines. That has a analytical feature in it called trend lines. They may have pulled the current fuel index information from either AAA's website or the energy website, which is EIA.gov, right? To pull the current on-highway diesel fuel prices. Right now in the US, the average is $4.47 a gallon of diesel fuel. And that's up 9 cents from last week. So last week it was less than that. It was 438, right? If you subtract 9 from 447, you see that? So this is a TMS system, transportation management software. Most brokerages, small to mid-size, use this to manage their loads. Right here, you can build a load. You can view loads that you have currently in your TMS system. You can search for loads that you have current. Let's say you did a load a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, and you want to go back and get some information because a driver called you and said that you didn't do something correctly on that load. Okay, what's that load number? You go ahead, search load, you type in a load number, and that particular load shows up, and all the data for that load is there, and you ask the driver, okay, well, what are you looking for specifically? Well, you said it paid this, but you said it gave it. Well, according to I'll send you a screenshot of this, it says this right here. So you can use that for that purpose. You can build a load. This is where you build a load manually. What does that mean? If a shipper gives you a load tender that you sign and agree to, that you got a load from the shipper, you can build that load to create what's called a rate confirmation or a load confirmation for the motor carrier. Because you don't give the same money from the load tender to the from the shipper to the motor carrier, right? Let's say, for example, a shipper gives you a load tender. You won a load or shipments from a shipper as a broker, and each load paid $3,000. So they're going to send you a load tender for $3,000. You're not going to create a rate confirmation as a broker and give the $3,000 to the carrier, are you? No, because you're not making any money. So as a broker, let's say you charge 20% for every load that you broker. So you're going to take the $3,000 and create a rate confirmation, at least taking 20% off the top. So 20% of 3,000 is 600. So you're going to subtract 600 from 3,000. That's going to give you 2,400. So you may create a rate confirmation for at least something less than the 2,400. You got 2,400 to work with because you took your 20% off the top of the 3,000. And you created, and you're not going to post a rate confirmation for 2,400 either. It's going to be something less. If you're a smart broker, it's going to be even less than the 2,400 because you need some wiggle room for negotiation. So instead of 2,400, it may be like 1,850 or 2,000. Let's say that 400 gap. You can use that gap when you get to the carrier side to negotiate the money, right? Because you got 24 to work with. You took your 20% off the top of the 3,000. You got 2,400 to work with. You created a rate con for the carrier for 2,000. So you got a $400 gap to play with that carrier to negotiate, to wiggle, to get even more money, right? Back to your pocket, right? That sounds like a drug game, doesn't it? Y'all brokers a drug dealer, y'all, man. Y'all get me locked up, man. What's going on over here, man? So that's the TMS system, transportation management software. And you can do LTLs. LTL stands for less than truckloads. You can do full truckload shipments from a shipper, or some shippers do less than truckloads. They do partials or less than truckloads. You can remember I said EDI and tenders. There's the electronic data interchange. Incoming tenders electronically produce the rate cons to go to the carriers, right? You can do it, and you can keep a log of that. The EDI logs. You got your customers. Who are the customers? The shippers. All the customers you got, you can view them in your TMS system because as you get customers, you're putting that data manually into your TMS system. It's essentially a database. It's keeping track of everything. So you see the difference between this and a load board? A load board is where you go get the loads or post the loads as a broker, and the motor carrier books those loads to make money. Load boards show the loads, where they're picking up from, where they're delivering to, and how much it's paying, and when's the pickup date, and all that stuff. You don't see any of this on the TMS system. The TMS system is the database that keeps track of all the parties involved in your relationship as a broker. Your customers, your assets, if you have them, if you are an asset-based broker, your carriers that you have onboarded, that you have approved, you have vetted, right? Any locations that you've done, that you've dealt with, or any location that you're doing business with as a broker, you may have a brokerage here, and you may have freight agents all over the country. So you have other locations, okay? And it does a rate check. It keeps track of document management. It does reporting, accounting, all types of things. So this is a TMS system. It's a built-in integrated customer relationship management software, CRM, and a content management system, CMS, fused together into what's called a transportation management software. That's the difference between a load board and a TMS, okay? All right, so that's number 4. Right. Number 5, is RMIS software different than Carrier 411 application? I asked because, okay, so number 5 is the final question, right? So RMIS is an online onboarding software that brokerages use to speed up the onboarding process. It's a digital online. So most brokers who are not using onboarding software, they will just attach a PDF of their broker carrier agreement to the email and send it to the carrier fill it out, and then return it. Or that's number 1. Number 2, they may have some kind of e-signature software where they take that broker carrier agreement PDF, import it into the e-signature software, for example, DocuSign or Adobe Reader, and then edit the fields that they want them to fill out, and then send that as a finished e-signature product to the carrier. Carrier opens that PDF in the email and is able to click the fields that they can edit. That's number 2. Number 3, which is the advanced version, is where they get in a relationship with an onboarding software. You got Carrier Assist. Let me show you RMIS. Let's go to Google. I'll give you 3 popular ones. Onboarding software, but the first one is RMIS, Registry Monitoring Insurance Service. Okay. And is this, or let me go to the main one. The main website. This was integrated through TruckStop. This one I'm specifically looking for. I know what it is when I see it, but at any rate, Register Monitoring Insurance Service. It is onboarding software that brokers use to onboard the carriers. That process. Okay. Another one is called Assure Assist. That's number 2. The third one is called My Carrier Package. Those 3 are onboarding online software that brokers use to speed the process up. Here's how it works. If you have integrated your brokerage with one of these 3 softwares and created a relationship with them, they will set your system up where you put all the information you want the carrier to be able to fill out once you send them a link to their portal that they've integrated with your brokerage. So once you talk to a carrier and you're about to onboard them, you say, I'm going to send a link to your email. You click that link. It's going to open up to a portal ID. Just put your MC number or DOT number in, and it's going to auto-populate most of that onboarding software with your data, because most carriers' data is a matter of public record anyway. You can pull the data from the FMCSA's website or the SAFER, right? Just general information. And then you fill in the blanks with the rest of the stuff and then upload the documents that we as a broker need, like a copy of your MC, copy of your certificate of insurance, a copy of your W-9. And if you have a factoring company, your credit application notice of assignment, right? So that makes the process easy. You'll get an email, the carrier, I should say, will get an email from the broker with a link to one of those portals, the RMIS or whichever one. Now, Pinnacle says here, the difference between software, Carrier 411 is a vetting application to vet the carriers, to qualify the carriers, to check their CSA scores, their driving record, their history as a driver, and things like that. That's what Carrier 411 is. It is a vetting tool on the carrier side. RMIS is an onboarding tool on the broker side to qualify carriers to come under a specific brokerage. Okay. And because DAT and TruckStop, they have these features integrated into their let me show you what I mean by that. Into their packages. I think it's DAT Pro. So let's go there for a second. But these are great questions. Hopefully I'm answering them for you.
Oh, yes, you are. Thank you.
Truck stop, RMIS for truck stop. Let's go to truck stop, load board management, pricing, and stuff like that. So truck stop, the different products with truck stop, and it shows it right here. So truck stop Pro is one of the best ones to have here. So truck stop Pro, let's look at the features of truck stop Pro and the products that they have. So truck stop Pro, the price per month. So it has load searching, truck and lane posting. This is for brokers. You got to post your lanes if you want to post them on a load board. Decision tools, which includes lookup tools, rate checks, book it now, the ability to book it, fuel desk, credit stop broker. These are different features in truck stop. Okay. And you can have a TMS integrated into the truck stop. You can have their TMS is called ITS Dispatch. Truck Stop's TMS integration for their load board or for their product is called ITS Dispatch. Okay. And then they are using RMIS as a onboarding tool. They have a relationship with RMIS. Truck Stop does. They have a TMS system right there. It should be called ITS. There it is right there. Like I said, ITS Dispatch. That is their TMS. This is Truck Stop's version of their TMS built into their software. Other load boards have theirs. Like DAT has what's called DAT TMS. Every load board, the advanced one, the big boys have their own versions, right? And then Truck Stop's version of their onboarding tool is called, they have a relationship with RMIS, Registered Monitoring Insurance Service. And then they also have, obviously, they have their load board, carrier onboarding right there. So if you go to carrier onboarding, it'll be, guess what did I just say? RMIS. They have, that's who they integrated and partnered with for their products. They're using RMIS. Remember, the three major onboarding tools, obviously RMIS is number one because just about everyone uses it. But you got RMIS, you got Carrier, Assure Assist, and you have My Carrier Packet. Those are the three onboarding tools. It just so happens that Truck Stop load board product uses RMIS as the onboarding tool. They use ITS Dispatch as the TMS tool, and then they already have their built-in load board feature, so that's always been there. So that's never going anywhere. Okay, so those are the things that we have here: insurance, monitoring, integrations. So let's go to integrations and see what other integrations they have. Okay. All these API integrations, load management, rates. So, okay. All right. So that's more on the development side. I want to show you that, get you confused a little bit. But that's how that works. So those are the questions that Miss Bola, Pinnacle Logistics, hopefully that took up the time though, but that's great because you guys needed to hear some of that stuff, right? As brokers, so you won't be confused about certain things from a broker's perspective. I'm glad we were able to break down the broker carrier packet and its contents and the broker shipper packet and its contents a little bit more thoroughly for you guys in order to answer. And make sure as a broker carrier packet and agreement that you require your carriers to contact you when they get to a pickup location, a shipper, because you're not going to give them a load number to pick up the load until they call you, so that you can notate, because that's another reason too. You notate the time, you timestamp it when they call you, because that helps you when the carrier tries to get extra money from you as a broker for accessorials like detention. Well, I've been sitting here 5 hours. Well, what time you get there? Well, I got there 5 hours ago. Well, you can't take the carrier's word in some cases, but if you guys track that and notate it, require the carrier to let you know when they get to that security gate before they get on a loading dock. Because detention starts, when does detention start? When they get to the security gate or when they get that truck low on the loading dock? When do you guys think detention starts?
Well, I don't know, but from being, because we also have a carrier authority, detention doesn't start until they tell us after 2 hours that they've been given a dock. Is
Okay,
that
so
right?
after you get to the loading dock, then your clock starts, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So did everybody agree with her?
Little bit.
Right. What happens when you get to the security gate? Some people
Uh-huh.
argue. Some people argue when your driver gets to that security gate to check in to be told which loading dock to go to is when detention starts. So it did. So you can put that distinction in your agreement for the carrier. You say, hey, and that's another reason you can require them to contact you when you get to the security gate. Hey, when you get to the security gate, let me know. And then when you get to the loading dock, shoot me a text also so I can notate that. How much time did it take was wasted from the security gate to the loading dock? It shouldn't be that long unless you are at a large DC. If you're at a large DC, a distribution center, there may be a wait line there. You may have trucks in front of you, So there's various scenarios. So as a broker, you want to determine what's fair to you and fair to your driver, right? Those things you kind of determine. But Jesse says up on check-in at that security gate. Because who knows how long. That's right. You may check in at the security gate at 7:30, but you may not get to the loading dock because all the loading docks at that facility may be filled. So you got to sit in line. Hey, man, I want to get paid for this. I'm not even on a loading dock yet. I still should get paid for detention. That's a scenario, right? So keep that in mind. Oh, I should have begun this at the beginning, but I want to thank you guys for your prayers, well wishes during my 2 weeks of illness. I couldn't even speak 2 weeks ago. My voice was gone. I had a respiratory infection. A lot of mucus built up. My blood pressure for Steve, my blood pressure was 210 over 149.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Stroke level.
Yeah.
I need to lose some weight. 210 over 149. They probably didn't want to let me out the place. I'm like, look, man, are you holding me against my will? I'm not trying to. And I was only at a one of those urgent care facilities. I wasn't even at the hospital. I was at an urgent care facility, right? So, but yeah,
Oh, wow.
I got a albuterol, the inhaler. I got some they couldn't give me antibiotics because the antibiotics would raise my blood pressure. So they gave me over the counter Coricidin HBP. You're familiar with that, right? So that helped, and then they gave me a few little medications to clear me out. So I'm much better now. Everything's good, back to normal. And then I also, one of my mentors, I have two major mentors. Mr. Irwin is my broker mentor, and Mr. Nelson, who's my trucking mentor. He's not here tonight. He usually comes in. Everybody who knows Mr. Nelson, he comes in and gives his insight. He lost his mother yesterday. So for those of you who know him, just send your well wishes to him or keep him in prayer while he's going through this difficult time. Okay. Just want to, so we're like a family here also. We like to, try to encourage everyone and things like that. So there's no ill will or ill intent, and we want to be able to support everyone. So for those of you who are new in here, either as a guest, welcome as a guest. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you are considering this particular course. In 2024, I intend to partner with a trucking buddy of mine who also has a freight brokerage. And we are probably going to be looking for agents to work for the brokerage. One of the requirements to be an agent for this company, the brokerage, will be to go through our training because we want to be able to train you in the way that we want you to go, right? So that's not like a Bible verse, by the way. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be forming that, and I'm dealing with this 25,000 square foot warehouse. We're doing that as well. So there's a lot going on. So, but everything's getting back to normal. This is the first night for our live Zoom training since my illness. So our next one will be Friday. What is Friday? The 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, but for those of you who are guests, welcome. For those of you who are, if you're interested, just reach out to us, and we'll see if we can get you signed up with us to become a freight broker. Steve, hopefully you got some good information about freight brokering. Jesse as well. Jesse, you're in the class though. You're enrolled, yeah. Okay. So, any final questions? I can take a few questions. Any final questions? And if you start to discover that the industry is not moving as quickly as you think in brokering or dispatching or anything like that, any of the disciplines, consider pivoting a little bit, right? In the industry. Like me, I am getting into the government space, government contract space. LaDonna, I think you're in that space already. I have a UEI now. I have a cage code. I have PSCs, products and service codes. I have NIGPs. All those things. Yes, Bola.
I just want to ask, so how much is it for Ascend TMS?
So you have the basic version and the premium. The basic is, I think it's $35 a month, and the premium is like $60.
Oh, thank God.
$59. He said, "Thank God." I know this stuff adding up, ain't it? As a broker, it's stuff adding up. You better hurry up and get a shipper to kind of offset these expenses.
Okay. Right? Thank you.
Yes. Chasa.
Hi, Charles. Good evening. Welcome back. Happy you're feeling better.
Thank you.
So I got a quick question, maybe a little bit off topic, but I am now in the process of looking for a new desktop, or I guess it's called now a tower. And I kind of wanted to know, through your suggestion, what would be the best desktop that would be suitable for what we do. Like, I know that a Chromebook is out of the question because it just doesn't have enough memory. Correct. But are there any like Dells or HPs, or is there anything in particular that I need to look for when it comes to the operating system or the speed when I'm looking for a new computer?
Correct. That's a great question. So it depends on your budget. I have a Dell Core i7 with an Intel processor, Core i7 with a Windows 11. It's all-in-one touchscreen desktop. That cost me like $1,300. So So it depends on your budget. That's what I'm. So whatever you're willing to spend. But as far as the specs, so I'll give you the specs and you can decide what your budget will be with that. So you would want, because of what you're doing, your hard drive size will be, I would say, anywhere between a half a terabyte or 500 gigabytes to a terabyte. Okay, 1 TB, and I can type that in there. But 500 gigs to 1 terabyte hard drive size. You also want to invest, if you can, eventually, either in some small 16 gigabyte thumb drives or an external hard drive, another 500 gigs to store some important files offsite in case your desktop crashes, right? Or something happens, virus, whatever, right? Operating system, Windows. The current version of the Windows software, I think, is Windows 11 these days. Software applications within that. Some operating systems nowadays, when you buy them, Windows come with the applications integrated in them, like Microsoft Office or Office Online, which has Word, Access, Excel, and PowerPoint, and Adobe sometimes too. RAM, the memory speed, anywhere between 8 to 16 gigabytes of memory so that the data can move fast. The processor, anywhere between, what do I have? I would say a 2.3 to about 3 gigahertz processor. Okay. Screen size, I have a 27-inch screen, so mine is huge. And then everything is integrated, built inside of it. I can touch the screen and go here and there, whatever, right? So, but those are the specs. So depending on your budget, and you're saying a desktop, not a laptop. If you have a laptop, you're more mobile. Like you can take it and be like on the plane or at a hotel if you're going on a trip to get some work done. You know. So do you intend to just have it stationary in one location, or do you plan on being mobile with it?
So I plan on having the desktop in my office and then purchasing a laptop eventually, and then have them on some kind of shared drive so I can go in and see documents and things of that nature.
Right.
But
So
also they'll have their own thing too.
yeah, shared drives like Microsoft comes with integrated with what's called remote desktop, where you can go back and forth between over an internet protocol. You can go through from your desktop at your house to your laptop in China or whatever, right? So everything's true there, LaDonna, except the 3-inch screen, 27-inch screen. So yeah. So whatever your budget dictates, I would start with the laptop first because it can be your desktop, but then you can be mobile with it at the same. So you can kill two birds with one stone. And then over time, as you bring in revenue from your brokering, you can get the desktop as well. You know.
Right. So I was going to actually start looking during Black Friday. I figured that's probably when the computers are going sale anyway.
That's the best time, and you're pretty much coming right up on that. That's a great idea. You get them at rock bottom prices, and just don't get killed out there. People over there trampling each other, but you know how that is. But yeah, so the laptops will be the same thing. Either I got let's see, either the Dell products or the HP products are the best out here, in my opinion. I come from an IT world, so Dell's and HP. Michael Dell's products have been pretty good, and then Hewlett Packards are second. You got Acers out there, and these other Acer and Asus are some good ones too, but the top two are the Dells and the HPs. They're modular, they come with good warranties, they replace things pretty efficiently. So, you know, and then the specs are pretty good. All right. Hopefully that helped. Mike, as far as software on your computers, to save space, I would install software. I would install the executable files for the softwares on your external hard drive or your thumb drive, and then run it from there onto your. And you probably not understand what I'm saying, but to save space, because when you install software on computers, it takes up a lot of hard drive space and it defrags the hard drive. So every now and then it fragments the hard drive, and every now and then you got to defrag it. It spreads it out and it slows down lag and produces lag time if you ever notice when you're trying to access different things, some applications take longer to open up than others. That's because the files for the applications are spread in different sectors on the hard drive on your computer because they're fragmented. So my solution for that is to have the executable files separately on the external hard drive or the thumb drive, and then just run them from there onto your computer. So But most people, they'll just install it on the computer and be done with it. So that's fine too. But I would say once a month, set your computer up to do an automated defragmentation of its hard drive automatically in the background, even while it's off. So you'll save yourself on lag time and all that stuff. Virus checks, do that, set that up automatically. Some good virus software, CCleaner, Malwarebytes. Yeah, and then Windows have an internal one, Windows Defender. You can use that internally. But if you install other virus removal softwares, you have to turn the internal ones off because they will conflict with each other and it'll create lag time. So, but you can ask those questions later on as you get the computer. I can give you that technical stuff later on. But for now, the laptops, Dell, HP, Acers, Asus, those are the brands. I got an HP Pavilion. Mine is called a Pavilion. That's a 13-inch laptop. I've had that for 3 years. The life expectancy of computers, the desktops, is anywhere between 3 to 5 years. They're like cars. You got to keep them tuned up and oil changed. You just got to understand what that language is in computer jargon, in IT talk, right? So just like you keep your cars updated, your cars last longer, oil change, tune-ups, tire rotations, and all that stuff. It's the same thing with computers. That's why they last long. The life expectancy of a regular desktop with all this power is 3 to 5 years. Laptops, the same thing. But you got to keep them tuned up, right? And it's easy. Most people go to these computer shops and they're charging you $8,000 to do this simple stuff. But, it's not worth it. So hopefully that helped on the IT side for you. All right.
Oh, yes, you did.
Oh, somebody else was listening.
Because all I have is Apple. And now I'm worried like I have to spend money to get something different.
Well, the only reason why I do not use Apple products, well, there's several reasons, but one of which I'll keep to myself, but the other is the software is too proprietary. They come out with updates and you got to change everything every 5 minutes. You got to update something. I don't know why the iPhone got to be, there's an iPhone 15 come out and the only thing they updated is how the camera looks in front of the phone. That's ridiculous.
I know, right?
So
Yep.
I use Android for my phone and I use non-proprietary software for my computers. Like I don't have no iPads, no anything. So, but yeah, I don't trust Apple products. Well, so I don't use them. They're too proprietary. I'd rather have open source where I can get it from anywhere than have to have a specialized proprietary type of hardware and software features that may or may not be available at the time that I need it. With open source software and hardware and software features, you get them anytime and from anywhere. That's more convenient for a person, in my opinion. So it's just when you think about it, it's just common sense. So, but it is what it is.
True. One more question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have trailer, what do we call assets for carrier, but now my husband changed the names from the business to personal. So because we're not doing much of the carrier anymore, so we're only keeping just one trailer, one truck on his name. I mean, on the business name.
Okay.
I mean, for the carrier. For the carrier. So now for the brokerage, can we now say we have assets?
You certainly
no,
can.
We cannot.
You're an asset.
Because I don't understand how that works.
You just the companies have to be separate.
Oh, okay.
Your trucking company is separate from your brokerage, but you can leverage having an asset.
Yes.
Having a motor carrier company with, I don't know what kind of tractor you have. You just have a regular power unit with a what kind of trailer do you have? Like a dry van trailer or?
Oh yeah, we just have the dry vans. Yeah, the dry vans with the tractor. Yeah.
Yeah, you just put that under the brokerage as an asset, but keep the entities separate, the EINs and the company names separate.
Yes, right? We did.
But they're still yours, so you are technically asset based.
Okay. Okay.
And you can leverage that. You can use your brokerage to leverage going at the freight that goes on your carrier side, as well as other
Um,
obviously too.
can you break that down to simpler
So,
English? What does that mean?
so you can okay. I'll say it again. So you can leverage your brokerage to go after shippers who have commodities that go on the equipment types that you have on your trucking side.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes.
So you got a dry van,
Mm-hmm.
truck and trailer for your carrier side. So
Mm-hmm.
you can go after shippers who have commodities like general freight, dry goods
General freight right away.
that go
Okay.
on, yes, that go on dry vans. You can
On
target.
dry vans.
Yeah. So where are you based? Where's Pinnacle Logistics Inc. based out of? What state?
Illinois.
Great location. You are in the Midwest, so there should be a lot of dry van and refrigerated freight coming out of that area.
Okay.
So you are in a perfect location. You are in the Midwest zone, which is number one as far as the 5 zones are concerned to move freight inbound and outbound. You should not have any trouble getting loads out of even now. You may have trouble with the rates of the loads because the rates are low, but you should not have any
Yeah.
trouble getting loads. Now, what they are paying is another thing, but getting them in the Midwest is an excellent.
Hmm.
Chicago, Chirac is in here. Sky here. Okay, so yeah, so you should be fine over there. There's different um industrial cities in the state of Illinois, not just Chicago, but outside of there, off the major interstates over there. I think a major interstate over there is 94, I believe it is.
Yes, 94. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you should be able to do very well. And I will partner with, well, not partner, but get under some of those industrial parks to see if you can put your trucks in those locations. Do you have a
Okay.
driver for your truck?
I wish we have 4 trucks, but just my husband right now. So the remaining 3 are just sitting there
So you
for
have three
almost a
trucks
year
sitting.
now.
You have 3 trucks sitting.
Yep.
Your husband's driving one of the trucks.
Yes. So we have 3 trucks sitting.
So you have 3 truck and trailers sitting, or just 3 trucks?
Yeah. Oh, 3 trucks and also 3 trailers sitting.
Oh, you got to get some drivers in there.
But it's difficult to find. We have been.
Yeah, I know. Easier said than done, right? That's correct.
I have been trying and trying and trying. Look, I just graduated with my master's in January, so I'm done with school and I've been trying. It's just
Congratulations. What is
hard.
your master's in?
Public health.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. And
Are you going the PhD route, or are you just going to stay masters?
oh no, this is enough.
Okay,
This is enough because well, I'm back to school now, right? Learning about brokerage, so I can support my husband and we can support the family.
correct. All right.
So I guess I wanted the education. Now I have it. So now let's do something with it.
Right. So you got to get some drivers. We got to figure out how to get drivers in your area. Call, uh, put out ads, but see the process. You got to vet these drivers. Different personalities. Are they willing to go over
Oh
the
yes.
road? Would it be? What are you willing to pay them? And are they willing
Yeah.
to go the road? Maybe maybe owner operators who may want to run under your authority. They may park their truck, but then get in yours. It's
Okay.
just different scenario.
Okay. Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
see. I'm not very good with social media pages. I'm just learning to do that now because I don't have a choice. I have to learn about social media now.
yeah.
So,
Indeed, Craigslist, word of mouth, flyers, business, social media. Yeah. Chasa, I saw your hand
yeah.
raised.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so I have 3 questions. First, I'm going to say all 3 of them. First question is, I heard that the new shippers list came out for 2023. Are we going to have access to that list on your platform? If not, then can you tell us how we can purchase that list and about how much it costs? And the third question is, I believe you said that on the Trucking Planet platform that we would have access to the shippers on the shippers tab, but I don't think we have access to that yet. Or at least I tried and I couldn't, it wouldn't pull up any shippers for me.
Okay, let me see. Trucking Planet, and we have the logins for those. You talking about the shippers list from the national LTL and FTL directory that's coming out 2023?
Yes.
So 2023 won't come out until sometime in January and 20. So the current year won't come out until the next year. Like, so for 2023, it won't come out until 2024 because the data has to be accumulated and then assessed and put into the. So they try to remove a lot of stale data, stale shippers who no longer are there. They try to keep it current. Now sometimes they miss the mark, but it costs. So mine, I paid $900 for mine. It was 2021, I believe it was 2022, 2021, and I thought I put it in the back office, but I'll double check that. But I will check into that and see what the price is. The problem with that shippers list, that FTL and FTL National Register of Shippers, they have it formatted in a spreadsheet, and it's difficult to decipher. And I've been trying to get on the phone with them to see why they do it that way. I think it's and it's not the regular CSV version. I think it's the SXSLS type of version of the spreadsheet, which is ridiculous. But anyway, let me log into Trucking Planet and shippers. So you don't have access to these shippers, dry van shippers?
I'm sorry about that. I was talking, you couldn't hear me. Yes, so when I tried to log into it, it did not show me any of that. It showed me the drop down for the shippers. I clicked on any one of those links and then it didn't show me anything. So I don't know. Maybe I have an old login or expired login, or
yeah, I think
I'll try it again.
The current login should be under logins, right next at the top here. And it should be like a PDF with the and it should have a shipper's password in there as well that I put in there. Let me unshare my screen and look at it real quick. Just to double check. Yeah, so it's still there now, whether it works or not on your end. I don't. Are you using it on and what are you on a laptop, desktop? What computer are you on?
I was on a desktop, but maybe my desktop, because I remember I started off in your dispatching class.
Right.
Maybe the desktop is still remembering the dispatcher login, which is not allowing me to see it as a broker, which will access me to the shippers. I don't know.
Okay.
But I will try it again.
So here's a dry van shipper. So you don't have to purchase the shippers list when we have software here that can pull pretty much the exact same with more user-friendly data. So right here, for example, and we can vet them by the state. So like, let's go to Illinois, the same state that we were just talking to the young lady about, and let's search the state of Illinois. And now we got 11 pages of shippers. And each page has 200 on them for a total of, and this is just Illinois, 2,190. So what I do when I get to this screen is I put them in order of sales because I want to target the smaller ones first. Going after the big boys, chances are they already have enough brokers and even large trucking company carriers. So I don't want to waste my time. I gotta the lower their sales per year, like between 1 and 2.5 million, to the higher sales. This is unknown, but right, I'll be better off doing them. And then you got who they are. Iceberg Enterprises there in Rosemont, Illinois. Their sales is 1 to 2.5 million. They deal with wood and office furniture. They're manufacturers of wood and office furniture. That's what MFRS. Though that's just abbreviation for manufacturers. The contact person's name is Rich Gilbert. Well, actually, he's the owner. So, phone number and email. So now you can decide to do a phone campaign or an email campaign to that person. Look them up on LinkedIn. Make a connection with them on LinkedIn. And then send them, if you make a connection on LinkedIn and they reply, now that's a warm lead. It's no longer cold because they've engaged in what you sent them and responded to it. So there must be some level of interest. When someone responds back to you, there's a level of interest. And then also you can search by commodities and put it in alphabetical order. Apparel, automotive, paper bags, and then see different things there. So you can look for shippers here. And this is just shippers who have commodities that go on dry vans. What about shippers who have commodities that go on flatbeds or refrigerated? In Illinois, that's a reefer state. You can have refrigerated goods come out of there. Let's select Illinois again. Or your state, whoever state, whatever state you're in, let's search that. And now you got, so it's smaller in Illinois for refrigerated shippers, but 177, if I had 177 shippers, I'd be all right. I think I'd be a multimillionaire at this point, right? So sales, you can put it in order of sales, or you can put it in alphabetical order of commodities and then go through the same process. Narrow down, drill down. You can choose your shippers and your commodities and the type of equipment type the commodities go on and the zones that you want to get those shippers in from this resource right here. Right? And then Columbus Foods. I got a friend of mine I spoke to this morning. She's at US Foods down in Florida. And she's going to hook me up with the logistics manager down there. I'm going to talk to him, Brian. So, and just throw some stuff at him. So, baker supplies, beverage powders. So you can put in the order of that. You can put in the order of sales. But this 20 million to 50 million, that's probably going to be out of your ballpark right now for a new broker. I mean, if you landed, great, right? I'm not discouraging you to go after them. I'm just saying, make your entry point a little bit easy for yourself. So let's go back to the 1 to 2.5 million. And this is what their annual sales are. This is what they gross, not what they net. Okay. So health food products, manufacturers. So now you can just scroll through here and kind of vet that. You even got the shippers I remember Bola Pinnacle Logistics was asking about other equipment types. Well, hot shots, you got distributors, we got warehouses. I'm in warehouse. I can look for 3PLs and stuff like that. Importer, exporter, that's more customs type of things, freight forwarding and stuff like that. Distributors and wholesalers, those are DCs. So now we're dealing with the supply chain concept, right? We're in the realm of supply chain, suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, and the retailers, and then the end user. So, so this is a good resource to look for. Now, in the dispatching class, I have the students in the dispatching class use this same resource, but they use it on the carrier side. They're going after carriers to call, right? I don't suggest using their load boards because their load board is crap. I use it for sourcing shippers and sourcing carriers and sourcing brokers. Look for freight broker database. There's a database of freight brokers, right? And they're pulling the information from the FMCSA. To view current status of operating authority with FMCSA, click here. And it takes you straight to the SAFER website and their licensing and information. So, you see? So it's having the resources is great, but then we just got to figure out the best way to utilize it for our specific space. So what are we? We are individuals who are applying to be brokers. So that's the space we're going to use it for. But this is a good
Charles.
Yes.
So you see how you went on to Freight Broker Database and they have the name of the company and then they have the contact person. And then next to that, they have shipments per month.
3,000.
Do you know if this is a platform where we basically can put our brokerage down and make a profile for us. Let's just say that there's a shipper who looks at Trucking Planet and says, "Hey, look at this guy. Hold on, I think you changed his name, the guy who had 3,000, but let's say they
Yeah,
said, hey,
Kareem. Yes, you can. You have to subscribe. You have to subscribe and do that, and pay for advertise. You got to advertise yourself on Trucking Planet to be in the same area as one of these. You have to subscribe and advertise.
So we can get our name up here.
You certainly can.
As a form of advertisement.
I've seen dispatchers list themselves under the carrier section, like drive-in carriers, flatbed carriers, reefer carriers. I've seen dispatch services listed under carriers, which is crazy, but yeah. And they'll put in parentheses, we are a dispatch service, but they're listed in the carrier database portion under drive-in, flatbed, or reefer. Right here, Strawberry Dispatching Logistics. They're not a carrier. They don't list how many carriers they have. They just say they're a dispatching service and where they're dispatching out of. Texas, going to these areas. We dispatch out of Texas, and we dispatch Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and more. So you definitely can. All you have to do is subscribe and then put your advertisement in. And you'll talk to a representative at Trucking Planet and to be able to list that. So I see what you're doing. You want to list yourself and your company in as many resources and platforms as possible for visibility. I understand what you're doing, and that's a great idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way, you let the platform work for you. You're working smarter and not harder. So you're going to have more eyes look at you that way than opposed to you going inwardly out. You want everybody out there to see you through different platforms. Another one I would suggest is what is that one called? Post Everywhere. So Post Everywhere, I almost forgot it. There's so much information up in this cranium of mine. I don't know. Post Everywhere is a platform where you put one post and it touches about 36 load boards. Okay. So here's Post Everywhere load board carrier posting. And you go there and you create an account with them. And now it used to be posteverywhere.com. I don't know what they call themselves now. Here's Post Everywhere. Right there, Post Everywhere. And you create the accounts with them. And then you post your load in the account, and then it touches about 32 to 36 load boards simultaneously, your load. So that increases your chances of getting calls from carriers by an increment of 32, right? 32 times over. That's smart. Even though these are low-level load boards, you're still putting yourself out there so broadly that someone's going to call you eventually, right? So that you work smarter and not harder. Post Everywhere, right? And then you go from there. So these are just so as brokers and trucking companies, you want to become familiar with different things that you can get yourself acclimated to for your companies, for your trucking companies, for your brokerages. I would suggest Transport Topics as a publication and FreightWaves Sonar. FreightWaves is a very good publication. Transport Topics. There's a third one too. I forget the name. The name escapes me now, but Transport Topics is pretty good. TT.com, Transport Topics, and then FreightWaves Sonar. Those are good publications. They keep you current with what's going on in the industry because they are in the industry, literally, right? And they're keeping pace with the market, why things are slow, why there's a slowdown at the ports, even though there's thousands of vessels on the oceans, on the North Atlantic Ocean as well as the Pacific. But why is the volume of ships coming into the ports, into the wharfs to be docked and offloaded with those containers, why has that slowed down? Well, in California, one of the reasons why it slowed down is because of AB5, the legislation that's trying to turn owner-operators into employees. So that's definitely going to slow down volume movement out west. Out east, you got issues with well, definitely the Biden administration and in the economy, jobs and all these other things, that's slowing things. And then truckers are shutting their companies down. They're dissatisfied with the pay. They're saying that either brokers or shippers are taking all the money. And to some degree, that is true. But we have to find out, we have to source that though. Part of that is you can honestly say that's true. You just got to source where the truth is coming from. Right? So, but they are right. Trucking companies are shutting down. Some of the reasons why trucking companies are shutting down is because some of these trucking companies do not know how to manage their books, keep track of their finances, keep track of their back end expenses, right? Some truckers don't even know how to calculate fuel costs for their truck for any trip, any lane they run. They don't, like I show my dispatchers how to calculate fuel, the price of fuels. Some truck drivers don't know how to do that. So why are you running a trucking company if you don't know how to figure out your fuel costs so you know what your bottom line is and what you are either gaining or losing, if you are in the red or in the black? If you don't know how to figure that out, you should not be in you should not have a trucking company, right? And that's simple. So, and I hate to sound like I'm insulting them, but I'm just saying one of the reasons. So if someone's a trucker, they take that the wrong way, I apologize. I'm just saying if you are going to be in a business, in an industry that involves keeping track of your books and of your monies and knowing what your expenses are, then you better do that, because at some point it's going to catch up to you and you are going to go under. So either you have to have a great accountant or you have to know how to do it yourself. That is real. So some of these trucking companies that are going down, they're blaming brokers and shippers. Okay, I get that. But when you start pointing things, look in the mirror. You got to make sure that you look in the mirror first. So, all right. But yes, it is true. Some brokers are being greedy. Some shippers are being cheap. Their bottom line, they're not offering as much money because if I'm a shipper, I do want to transport my goods to my customer, the consignee, the receiver, at the cheapest rate possible. Of course I do. I'm a shipper. I'm trying to save costs to keep my shipment running, my facility. That's everyone wants to run their business at the cheapest price, cheapest expense, and their overheads low and their profit margins high. That's the nature of business, right? But you have to consider, if you're going to outsource the ability to arrange to transport, then this is from a shipper's perspective. If you're going to pay to outsource to have your shipments moved from your facility to your customer's facility, either directly through a motor carrier or you outsource it through a freight broker, you have to come off of some of that money, because now you are involving third parties. Most shippers don't understand that concept. When I talked to a shipper the other day, I explained it to them that way. I say, look, you guys are being greedy, or you're trying to get it out there for the cheapest rate. But you got to consider, if you're going to involve other people, there has to be some kind of flexibility there, right? You can't have the same mindset of trying to get it there to your customer at the cheapest rate if you do it yourself, as opposed to using third-party trucking companies or freight brokers. It's not the same thing. So you have to keep that in mind, shipper. So they're like, who are you? Where you come from? Well, I have nothing to lose. I have nothing else. If you tell me no, I could care less. If I get your business, I'm fine. But if you tell me no, I'm not going to lose any sleep. But I got to tell you how it is, how the industry, how you can be indirectly affecting the industry. I have nothing to lose. But if I get your business, thank you. So, all right, guys, I'm over the time, 8:15. Hopefully I answered all your questions.
Hey,
Yeah.
Charles, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Hey, this is Jerry. Hey, one question. I just got one question and a statement. The question is, I was late coming on, and you were talking about the relationship between the carrier and the broker. So, but I didn't hear what you were saying first, which I'm not asking you that. But what I am asking you is that, what if a dispatcher calls you with a carrier, does everything stay the same between, I mean, do you still need that information from that carrier the same if it was just the carrier calling you opposed to the dispatcher calling you for the load?
That's a great question. So if a dispatcher calls you representing that carrier, if you are willing to, as a freight broker, if you're willing to work through the carrier's dispatcher to get the same result of getting your loads moved, then so be it. If the dispatcher has the ability and the competency to do that, then that's perfectly fine. If I'm a freight broker and I have a dispatcher calling me from a trucking company trying to move a load, one of my loads, I wouldn't have a problem with them if they behave in the realm of dispatcher. Now, if they try to behave in the realm outside of dispatching, then we have a problem, right? But yeah, it's no different, especially if the carriers have authorized the dispatcher to do so with that limited power of attorney. If they authorize the dispatcher to represent them legally and contractually with a notarized document, limited power of attorney, which does that, then yes, I have no problem with that. Now, most brokers don't understand that. Most brokers hear dispatcher and they think, oh, you're acting like glorified brokers. No, I'm trying to represent my carrier and move one of your loads, Mr. Broker. I'm not trying to be a broker. That's what you are. I'm calling you a broker to try to move a load for my carrier. I am a dispatcher, right? So, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that if they do it the right way.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So what if that dispatcher, can you accept or trust the same information that you would get from the carrier? Well, the dispatcher already has that information. So do you have to re-vet the carrier, even though the dispatcher already has and sends you all the information that the dispatcher has received from the carrier? Can you accept that? You can't accept that, right?
You can accept that. Yeah. So if I'm a broker and you, Jerry, call me, you're a dispatcher for a trucking company that you're working for as a dispatcher trying to move loads for, I'm going to ask you for the MC, right? You're going to give me the MC of that carrier so I can see whether or not that carrier is an already approved carrier in my brokerage or not. If they are not, I'm going to go through the process. Okay, well, who do I send the onboarding packet to, the broker carrier agreement, the setup packet or whatever? Dispatcher is going to say, you send it to me because I'm representing the carrier. Okay, I got no problem with that. Now, if there's anything in that conversation that draws my suspicion, then I'm going to ask that dispatcher, hey, let me talk to your carrier, by the way. Can you put them on the phone or give me their information? I just want to confirm something. And if they are reluctant to do that, then my red flags will go up. Because now you're trying to be slick and you're trying to do something. But if a dispatcher don't have a problem, no, sure, I'll give you, you can call him. As a matter of fact, he's in the next room. He's about to go out on the truck in a second. I'm in the office right now. Or I'll give you the number, call them once you get it clear with them, and then just call me back and we can finish this process. If a dispatcher, if they talk to you like that and they don't have a problem with any of that, then that's fine. But if you get some suspicions up and your red flags go off, then that's an issue, right? And as a broker, you pick up all things.
Right. I'll just think about all the game out there, man, because it could be the carrier and the dispatcher running game and saying that they vetted the carrier and really they partners. They trying to do some more underhanded stuff. And they tell you, oh, well, I already the dispatcher tells you I already vetted him. I got this, and and send you something and it could be fraud.
That's true. So the dispatcher, the vetting of the dispatcher only goes so far as the dispatcher can take it, as far as them getting under their dispatch service. It cannot be the same level of vetting that a broker does for the carrier, because the broker needs to qualify the carrier in order to make sure that they are authorized to transport that freight with that MC number and the insurance and all the other things. Now the dispatcher can vet them and say, hey, I train my dispatchers to say, hey, vet the carrier. Make sure before you put a carrier under your dispatch service, make sure that they are legally a carrier. Make sure that they have an MC number. Check the MC number in Safer. Make sure they have insurance, because you don't want to waste your time bringing a carrier under your dispatch service and then calling the broker to book a load for them. and you give the broker the MC number, and it turns out that they're not even legal. You just
Right.
wasted your time.
Right.
You see? So the beauty of my trainings on the dispatcher and the broker side is you get the best of both worlds. So I make sure the dispatchers do it right, and I make sure that the brokers do it right, because that way you're not wasting your time. Well, look, I'll be 53. I ain't got time to be playing. I'm getting older. I'm trying to set up generational wealth and a legacy. I ain't got time to be playing with these fraud people out here doing all this crazy stuff. No, let's do this. Let's do this the right way. Let's stop wasting time. We are adults here. Let's stop playing all these games, all this nonsense. Let's do it the right way.
Right. I got you. Well, okay. So let me just say this. You just mentioned you was 53, and I hope you get to be 103. But you got to let that other stuff alone out there. That diet.
Amen.
Come on. Come on, man. You got to go raw, man. Just go raw, and you'll take all that foolishness away from
You know what?
yourself.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And it's unfortunate that, especially the African American community, it's unfortunate for us that we have to wait till we get to a point where something halfway kills us to make a decision to go the right direction. You know what I'm saying? A near stroke or a near heart attack, all this other nonsense.
Right.
Or we decide to focus on everything else, right? Our work, relationships with marriage, all this other stuff, material things. But our health seems to be the least of our worries. Right?
Plant-based, Charles. Plant-based, man. Hey, look. Question. Hey, E Capital, are they cool?
As far as the
factory.
I'm going to say